good, Humbl3 Fam? How about y'all come on in and let's have us another visit here on the Humbl Show. I am Grant Fletcher, being joined by my co-host, Brandon Cox. Moonbeam is here in the building on the premises somewhere, but she's wrapped up.
Quite preoccupied
right now. It's a crazy weekend, like we always say, and sometimes not everybody can make it. So it's just you and me, just yucking it up and just goofing off over here right now.
Yeah.
We're here at the Cajun Dome. We're in the Cajun Dome right now. And we're about to kick off day 2 of Louisiana Comic Con 2024. How'd your day go yesterday, Brandon? I barely saw you.
Yes, it was a gloriously busy day. I could not have wished for a better crowd out there. Honestly, everybody was so enthusiastic. I loved the entire day.
We had a lot of people. Like early on, we had a lot of people inside the building, and then Joey, who's been on the show before, came and told me how many people were outside waiting, and I was amazed. Like the people of Lafayette, Louisiana, like they brought it yesterday. They absolutely made it happen.
Oh, really and truly.
And it was just amazing to see. Yeah, everybody had a really cool time, and we had a real busy day of panels yesterday.
Yeah.
It was challenging. It was intense. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. Yeah. What was did you see anything interesting over at the merch booth? I mean, you're sort of like in the crow's nest.
Yeah. So there was a plethora of amazing cosplay yesterday. A lot of things that I saw, and everybody was so humble about it. Hence the show, and there were a handful of items. There was one woman with like hand jewelry on that she made herself. She's like, oh yeah, it took 2, and I thought that she was about to say months. I'm like, oh, that sounds about right, but no, days. 2 days.
Yeah, when you're a pro, you can knock that stuff out.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything looked really great. We had a lot of really great energy in here. In the at the main stage. We're sitting behind the main stage right now. If you're watching us on YouTube and you're like, what is this blue curtains? We're behind the main stage right now is where we are.
Yeah.
We're where everybody would come in, and then I introduce them for the panels, and they walk out of these curtains, and everybody cheers, and then that's where we are right now if you're seeing us. So,
yeah.
Excuse me. I think it was just I don't know how to even sum it up. Like all of our guests have been awesome.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you've met anybody in particular or what, but
there was of course the moment a few days ago whenever DJ Qualls and I shared our very similar travel stories. Getting here, the weather was absolutely bonkers.
We should talk about that because there were like really bad rainstorms coming in on Friday, and a lot of people were coming in from Dallas, or there was a connecting flight in Dallas because that's where the hub is.
Yeah,
and there's bad weather over Dallas. There's bad weather over this whole region of the state of Louisiana. So it was hard for people to get here. And yeah, DJ Qualls had driven in from New Orleans because he'd been there for a while because he actually loves. He was saying that he's moving there. As a matter of fact, he lived there working on a show previously, and now he's moving back because he loves it so much. So he drove in from New Orleans. And, the rain was just sheets. It was just like a white wall.
Torrential.
And he was like, I have never, ever driven in weather like that ever before. He was like, I was white-knuckling it the whole way. He said he was like, I was playing this game where every time I would see a Sonic, I would, like, stop at the Sonic for a few minutes under the thing, and then I would leave and then go a little bit further, and then you see another Sonic and you stop, and so
yeah,
that was his whole thing before. And everyone was like, yeah, that happens around here. And I told him, what it means is he's officially a Louisianian now.
Oh, absolutely.
So he's dyed in the wool. I mean, like I said, lived here before, but because it was funny that same day, Kim Rhodes and I had to come from New Orleans to Baton Rouge because she was in New Orleans for something else.
Yeah.
And then so I picked her up, and then we had to drive through Baton Rouge to Lafayette, and that was happening again.
Yeah.
And we drive in this all the time.
Oh,
because you're over in Mississippi, you're still on the Gulf Coast. It still happens.
Yeah, of course.
And so we just slowed down and dealt with it. And she was like, I'm glad you seem like you're calm about this. I was like, this just happens. This is just part of existing here.
I mean, yeah, there's no other thing that you can do. You have to be calm about it if you're going to survive.
Mm-hmm. It's a wild time. I kept explaining to her. I was like, look, listen. Louisiana's a weird place. It's a weird place.
Always.
It just is. Like you just have to learn how to deal with all the weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
I watched in real time, because DJ Qualls had his panel toward the end of the day
Yeah.
yesterday. And Paulo Costanzo, he and I had a panel earlier in the day, but he was DJ's co-star in Road Trip, and they hadn't seen each other in 20 years. And Paulo was like, he and I had talked previously. He's like, maybe I can join DJ on stage. So about halfway through the panel, Paulo came out.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I watched in real time DJ Qualls explain to Paulo Costanzo the daiquiri rule.
Oh.
And
Oh,
I think
you mean
Paulo
the
was
straw, right?
Yeah, Paulo was aghast. He was speechless. So if y'all don't know, if you're not from the region, so we have what's called drive-through daiquiri shops.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
so you go to a daiquiri shop. It's a bar that specializes in serving daiquiris. They're already ready-made in the machine. You just pour them out, and they have a drive-through, oftentimes. So you drive up with your car. You order an alcohol beverage.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They hand it to you through the window of your car, and then you put it in the cup holder. Cheryl's coming through. No?
Oh,
Moonbeam
hey,
is here.
Moonbeam.
Oh, my goodness. You made it. Hey,
Hey.
I don't have a chair for you. Do you want to grab a chair and come sit with me? Okay, cool. Moonbeam said, no, I don't want a chair.
All right.
But, yeah, so they hand you one alcohol beverage,
yeah.
and you sit down in your car, and as long as the lid is on it, and you have the straw in there, but the straw has the paper over that part of the straw, it's good. You could get pulled over. You're like, officer, I am well within the law here. I have the paper on the straw, and you're good. You're fine. And Paulo Costanzo was speechless. He had no response.
I went to a drive-through daiquiri.
No, DJ Qualls was explaining it to Paulo Costanzo on the stage, and he couldn't believe that we were actually telling him a real thing. You could stand up. You're actually in the frame. Yeah, you're perfect.
there we go.
How are you? How's your morning? It's been crazy.
Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about, or you want to wait?
I don't know if I can say it on the radio.
Want to process it first?
Man, I'll before we move on, I'll go ahead and say I think that my mistake last night was ending the night off with a daiquiri.
Okay.
Although I will say the establishment that we went to, which I believe was either Freddy's or Frankie's. My apologies to that place of business. They basically put the entire state of Hawaii on top of that beverage. It was so many wonderful fruits.
Have a little poi on there and some pulled pork. Yeah.
No pulled pork, but lots of wonderful fruits.
Oh, y'all, God.
Okay.
Yep, it's one of them mornings.
Tell me something. Tell me anything.
You wanna hear
Anything's
something?
good. Yeah, I do.
This place right here. Look, here's a plug. I'm gonna plug something.
Okay,
right now.
plug it.
Okay, so we always go to.
Yeah. Convenient.
It's convenient.
You know where it is. You know how much it's going to cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Place right here. Freaking Jet Coffee.
Jet Coffee. Okay.
My gosh.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
What in the world?
Is that a local place or is it like a regional chain or
It is
something?
a-
Nice.
I think there's two of them.
Shout out to Jet Coffee.
You guys should sponsor us.
Yeah.
'Cause
Hey,
we're gonna sponsor
Jet
y'all all
Coffee.
weekend.
We know you're watching this, so we're going to sponsor you now.
I think Cody Chamberlain is friends with. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm out.
Cody Chamberlain, yeah.
Hey,
Look,
it's been fun, guys, but I gotta run.
Moonbeam has to thank you
Right
for
on,
stopping
right
by.
on.
I'm glad you're here, that people could see you and hear you for a second. Good. I'm glad you did.
Grab my drink.
Good. She's grabbing her drinks and she's heading out, everybody. Everybody say bye to Moonbeam. Bye, y'all. Yeah, Cody Chamberlain and Rob Guillory, comic creators, they had their first panel of the weekend. And I was talking to him beforehand. I was like, y'all are if people show up to your panel, when people show up to your panel, they are, they're into it.
Oh yeah.
They're into the
sure.
process. They want to see it. One of the things we talked a lot about was towards the end of it was AI art.
Oh yeah.
And how that's going to change things. And they were like, there's controversy here and there and everywhere. And, Rob Guillory had this sort of like take on it that I had never heard before, but made sense. He's like, you go to the grocery store and when you have like organic grapes, right? It says
Yeah,
organic. There's
yeah.
a tag on there, right? And it's like there's a premium for it and everything else. So now it's like, okay, yeah, I have art. And this is, I have hand-drawn art. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People will want that real stuff.
Yeah, and and Cody had made the point. He's like, he's like, it's really good for like making mock-ups or whatever. He said, but, if you're buying art from someone who just generated on AI, he's like, you're buying it from the customer of the software. You're not buying it from the person. And I said, too, I was like, just because there's more AI art out there doesn't mean that people are going to just stop drawing.
No,
it doesn't mean people are going to
no.
stop, making art. It doesn't mean people are going to stop writing. You're not going to quell the creative thirst out of the population. So
Absolutely not.
I think we'll be okay in that regard. Also, I feel like, and maybe I just feel like I'm smarter than I am, but I feel like I've gotten a lot better at just spotting what is and is not AI art.
It's. I mean, of course, always the dead giveaway if it's a person,
Right.
or the hands.
They have too many fingers, not enough fingers, too many arms,
yeah.
that kind of thing. But also, like, I've noticed too that it was supposed to take this like great leap forward over the last year, and I don't think it really has either.
No, not as far as images. No, it's still not. It's not there yet, which is, I think, a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, so it probably will eventually, but it hasn't progressed at the speed at which we were all led to believe it would. I guess that was more of a selling point, marketing point, or whatever. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It was interesting. It was an interesting talk and very insightful, very cool. Because those guys, Rob Guillory worked on Chew.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Chamberlain has worked on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Punks is one of his original comics was great. It's all photo collage. Is all the artwork in there.
Yeah.
So it's made like an old punk rock flyer would have been made for like a punk show.
I dig that.
Is the general idea. So. It's really cool. It's really unique. And he was talking about how actually MTV was looking at it for a while. We got to get Cody on the show.
I think so, yeah.
We have definitely a queue of people that are going to be on the show. But I want Cody on the show because he's so well versed in just how that part of it works. Like not just the creation part, but like the business, what the dealings of it all too.
Right.
So we talked a lot about how TV optioning works and things like that too, which is really interesting. So it was a really cool, really interesting talk, and the people who did not show up missed out.
Really missed out.
We're gonna I'm gonna open this show today with John Beatty.
Oh yeah, he's such a nice guy.
Who was the inker on Secret Wars, which is a very iconic Marvel Comics run, and has did art on a lot of other just great things that you've seen before. I mean, he was the first guy who was part of the team working on the black suited Spider-Man in the very beginning.
So,
he's told us previously that a lot of fans of Marvel Comics are like, oh, well, they were planting the seeds of Venom like here and here, and they said this, and this is how you knew Venom was going to show up when you look back. And he's like, none of that is true. He said Marvel came to us and they said, we need to sell more toys of Spider-Man. Come up with a new look for Spider-Man. And that was it. And then they worked backwards from there.
It's a very J. Jonah Jameson sort of movie.
Isn't it really? It works out. Hey, man, look, all the money in anything is in the merchandising.
Oh, always.
Right? All the money is in the merchandising. I think the biggest panel I had yesterday, we had a couple of close contenders, but the biggest one would have been Kim Rhodes. She was the mom on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. A lot of great Supernatural fans out here, too. So that was really cool. That was really fun and interesting to see. And Kim, basically, she told me ahead of time, she was like, I'm gonna make your job easy. Watch this. And she really did just take the whole thing over.
It's
amazing. It was so great.
Yeah.
I love that. It was so awesome to see, man, because she brought it. She really did. And it was a real time.
Yeah. Did she get a lot of good questions?
Oh man, so many great questions. Like it was just raw, real, just like unfiltered, like everything you could have wanted is what it was.
Yeah.
That was really awesome. And I know I'm missing a bunch of David Matranga, Emily Neves. I saw them at the hotel this morning, as a matter of fact. We had their panel, which was a lot of fun. People really loved their panel. All those anime fans are real, just passionate.
Very, very enthusiastic.
Leah Clark and Miss Ulala, who were on the last episode, they had a really good panel as well. That was a lot of fun. That was always really cool. We've done that one before at My Hero Con. It's cool just to have like a voice actor and her anime counterpart, like her cosplay counterpart on the stage at the same time. There were a lot of good questions about cosplay and everything too. During the panel, which I really, really dug. We had a lot of good questions yesterday in general. Like, the folks here in Lafayette really had just like a really good time, and just like, you know, they were thinking about it in a way that I think a typical Comic-Con crowd would not think about it.
Awesome.
You know,
it's good to get those.
and then you know, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, we closed out the day with that. We had Zach Gordon and Rob Capron come out here on the stage, and folks were real pumped up for that one there. We had a lot of really good questions. Rob said it was his first convention ever. He'd never been an attendee at a convention, never been a guest at a convention, so he was having a really good time.
That's so awesome.
And man, like, talk about a panel where like they gave everyone their money's worth. They gave everybody their money's worth at that one. You know, they had really, really good answers for everything. They told some really, really good stories. It was really dope. I'm excited about, you know, and there was so much, like I said, so many people were just so excited to be here, and they heard a lot of you know, you were my childhoods yesterday, which is
always
cool.
has to
Like,
be amazing to hear.
You know, I'd seen the movies, but I didn't have that. Like, you know, I watched them like with like a, you know, younger family members that had kids or something like that.
Yeah.
So, because they came out when I was, you know, already an adult, a young adult. Okay, I'm not that old, but you know, I didn't have the same connection to them. I was just like, I just kind of enjoyed these, you know,
right.
whereas everyone else was like,
that.
yeah. So it was a really cool time. And then, man, did you get into anything fun yesterday afterwards or no?
Oh yeah. I went to a really great ramen place. You know, I saw a lot of familiar faces. Of course, had that daiquiri that I should not have had.
Okay.
And yeah. Just, I mean, it's always great to go see the town. Always great to hang out with friends that you don't get to see that often. And it was a wonderful time.
That's awesome. All we really did was we went out and got some poke. We got some poke bowls, I guess.
Yeah.
Poke Go, I think, is what it's called.
Oh.
And here's the thing about doing what I do. Not to sell anything Brandon does short or whatever, but sorry, it's water. It's liquid death.
Yeah.
I know I have to
Friends of
put
the
that
show.
disclaimer on it every single time we do this on video, and I'm drinking liquid death because it does look like I'm opening a beer at 10:30 in the morning, but I'm not.
Oh.
I do a lot of mental work, I guess.
Oh, I have no doubt.
And I can tell you yesterday, my brain was mush by the time we left here.
Oh, dude, I'm sure.
And I'd known about poker for a long time. I'd just never done it before.
Yeah.
I knew the concept. I knew what I was getting into. But
I know that's one of Greg's favorites.
yeah, I can see why. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I went in there and the guy was asking me questions, and I realized that I just wasn't processing any of the questions that he was asking me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm tired. That's whenever it hit me, is he was saying words at me, and I understood what the words were.
Yeah.
But I couldn't put it together about what they actually meant at that point in time.
I have absolutely been there before.
So, you know, that was interesting. But you know, I that is one of the things I know is part of the job, and it's just what I deal with. You know what I mean? Of course, and you are actually talking. It's probably pretty similar for you because you're at the merch booth every day. And it's like someone comes up and they ask you questions. They're asking you this question for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like panels.
Yeah.
And then they leave, and then the next person comes up and they ask you questions, and they're asking you this question for the first time, but it's the second time you've heard that question now.
Yes.
And then they leave, and the next person comes up, and you basically just have the same conversation with people all day.
And you know what? You just have to keep a very friendly face because, I mean, nobody's doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
You just have to do a very consistent thing all day for every 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's yeah, exactly. It's like every 5 minutes you just relive everything that you've done already that day. It's like a weird Groundhog Day scenario that you go through. Brandon's really tired. We're gonna wrap this thing up here in just a few minutes, but it was funny. I saw Kevin Nash was over there yesterday. It got cold in that building yesterday.
Oh, very, very cold.
I saw Kevin Nash and he had like a blanket over his shoulders. I was like, oh man, we got to do something about that. So I walked over to him. Like he was with a guest, with an attendee, a fan.
Yeah.
And so I waited, and then he was done. I said, Kevin, what size hoodie do you wear? And he smiled and he said, "Why?"
Oh, you know why.
I was like, "Because I saw you with that blanket on your shoulders." And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "I guess I'm a 3X." And I was like, "Okay, well, let me see." So when, of course, we had a 2X. So I was like, "Okay, well, let's see if this works." And it seemed like it did work because he was able to put it on. But, here's the thing. When you're like svelte like that.
When you're a muscle man.
When you're like a lean muscular like he is, sometimes you can squeeze into that size smaller and be okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And it's fine, But, you got the long limbs is the thing. He's got the long limbs, But we're not doing a panel this weekend. Next time we get together, he and I need to do a panel because it was a lot of fun last time we did it. But, this time it should be really cool. So it was really dope. Brandon, is there anything else that you're looking forward to today or just, having the whole same experience all over again?
Honestly, I'm looking to have the same experience all over again, to see the wonderful enthusiasm, to see the crowd, and, hey, to sell some shirts.
Yeah, sell some shirts and buttons and stins and pins and stickers and everything else.
Oh, yes.
Sunday is usually the chill day. People are in, they're shopping around, they're getting whatever autographs they didn't get the day before. They're just kind of taking it all in on Sunday, which we say, man, you got to do the full weekend if you want to actually really get the whole experience so you can kind of relax on one day. But with the way they brought it yesterday, I don't know if that's going to be the case.
I know.
It might be wild in there again today.
No.
Which will be a whole different thing. Brandon's like, I don't know if I'm prepared for that, but
I'm prepared. I can do it.
Well, look, that's awesome. We're going to get together next week and we're going to recap what happened today here at Louisiana Comic Con 2024. Make sure you are subscribed if you aren't already, and hit us, give us a comment and leave us a like, and make sure you're hitting up the Humbl Show on all your favorite social media platforms as well, because we want to talk to you. We'll be back next week for another visit here on the Humbl Show, but until then, stay humble.